Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Ranking the Albums. Today we're going to look at the studio releases from the great U.S. hard rock band who debuted in the 80s, still going strong today. We're talking about Tesla. And let's all make sure we go out and listen to and remember Pete Way today. All right, the late great bass player from UFO and Wasted and so many other projects who left us yesterday. So Pete, this one's for you, my man. So Tesla, a band not with a lot of albums. They've been kind of, like I said, been going strong for quite a bit, over 30 years, but only have 8 studio records in their catalog, and some really good ones. This was actually a very difficult kind of list to put together because so many of these albums are just, they have a few that are considered their best, but with the exception of maybe one, all their albums are really, really strong. So my list could probably change at any given time, especially the upper part of it. Right, so let's get started. So we'll start at number 8. We'll work our way backwards and go to our number 1. So a couple I don't have physical copies of, including the first one. So my number 8 is going to be 2019 Shock. So this is the one that just came out last year. This was actually produced by Phil Collen from Def Leppard. And I'm still kind of hit or miss on this album. Parts of it sound like a Tesla album, but parts of it sound like it could be a Def Leppard album due to the production style on the album. So, the drums are kind of very electronic sounding. You got all these, like backing vocals. It just sounds for a Tesla album, which Tesla is a band that we like to be raw, gritty, kind of bluesy, kind of with a nod to the 70s, but still, at their essence, they were always an 80s band. And I find that Shock kind of is missing some of that. It's a little too squeaky clean for a Tesla album. Couple good songs though, Tied to the Tracks is terrific. That's the Tesla we want to hear. Taste Like, also really good song. Okay, You Won't Take Me Alive, pretty decent rocker, but again just sounds too overproduced. A couple really mellow tracks and a couple that just for me just sound way too overproduced. So that's going to come in at number 8 for me. Not a terrible album, just for me, it seems like it's just deviating from the kind of the formula a little bit, right? And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but I don't enjoy it as much as the others. So coming in at number 7, Into the Now from 2004. Okay, this was the big return after a decade of being away. Tommy Sciacca, how does he say his name? Sciacca, Tommy Sciacca. Anyway, Tommy, had some drug issues. So he was off trying to get his life back together, right? So they took like a 10-year or from recording, yeah, but I think they were like physically away from the scene for about 6 years. Okay, but they came back in 2004 for this very solid record. Okay, it sounds like the Tesla of old, right? They're not missing a beat here. What a Shame, Into the Now. Okay, title track. Words Can't Explain, Caught in a Dream, Miles Away is a terrific song. Overall, pretty good rocker. Again, most of these, I think, albums that we're going to be talking about coming up are all very, very strong. 12 songs on this particular album. Good production. Okay, Michael Rosen and Roger Summers along with the band. Come to Me, another good one. Good album, very solid record. So coming in at number 6, all right, we're going to go to 2008. So fast forward a couple of years for an album called Forevermore. Forevermore, 2 words, not Forevermore, like the Whitesnake album. Another really strong album. Okay, produced by Terry Thomas, Michael Rosen engineering the album. Another really strong record. Okay, great dual lead guitar work from Frank Hannon and David Rood on this. There's the guys in the band, looking all sorts of into it, right? Good songs on here. Good hard rock and bluesy fun from the band. For the title track is great. So What is a killer tune. Breaking Free, One Day at a Time, I Want to Live. The First Time, In a Hole Again. 12 tracks again. All right. Top to bottom, really strong. And I like how Tesla, for the most part, throughout their career, most of their songs are about 3.5 to 5 minutes long. They're just perfect length. You got tasty guitar solos, lots of riffs, fantastic, gritty, bluesy vocals. Rhythms are just tight. Just a really, really fun band. And I know I've said this before about Tesla, but I think for me, Tesla, when they debuted, like in the mid '80s, they were kind of that band that I wanted Aerosmith to kind of evolve into. it's like, Aerosmith decided to go and, bring in all these outside writers and really go for big smash hits. And I think they lost a little of that kind of like raw bluesy swagger that they had early on in their career. And I think that's kind of where these guys came in. So for me, this is the band that I always wanted Aerosmith to mature into. So thankfully we've had these guys all these years. All right, so next up, number 5, right? We're number 5? Yes. Bust a Nut from 1994. Okay, so this, probably... their first 3 albums are considered their absolute drop-dead classics, but I think this album is not far behind it, or far behind them, I should say. Mama's Fool, great. A Lot to Lose, fantastic. What else we got on this? Action Talks, great song. God, Mama's Fool is such a great song. I love the chorus on that tune. Solution, Shine Away, Rubber Band, a lot of songs on here. Again, this one's got 14 songs in total. Again, this is the early CD era, right? So they're just jam-packing CDs with, close to 80, 70, 80 minutes worth of material. But a good album. Terry Thomas at the production helm again, once again. Good sounding album. Okay, here you've got, basically the lineup of Jeff Keith on vocals, Tommy on guitars, okay, Frank Hannon on guitars. Frank and Tommy would make, for many, many years, would make the kind of the classic guitar lineup of the band. All right, Brian Wheat on bass, Troy Luccketta on drums. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, number 4 is going to be another one I don't have, but I actually, in fact, those couple that I don't have, I need to just get at this point. I don't know why I never bought it, but Simplicity from 2014. Really good album. Probably, when you talk about like kind of later period albums by bands who have been around for a long time, you have to talk about Simplicity. It's a heavy album. MP3, great cranking song, one of the heaviest songs they've done in quite a while. You got Ricochet, Rise and Fall, So Divine is a really good song, Break of Dawn, Life is a River, just really, really good album. Flip Side, another cranking tune. I love the kind of bluesy swagger of this album. And again, this is Jeff Keith on vocals on this album, Frank Hannon on guitars. Got Dave Root on guitar, so Tommy is no longer with them at this point. Troy Luccketta and Brian Wheat on drums and bass, right? So here you got Michael Wagner, okay, doing the mixing and the mastering on this particular album. So very strong record, Simplicity. So comes in at number 4. Number 3, we're going to go to this bad boy. Psychotic Supper from 1991. This is, for me, for my money, this is one of their classic albums. Their 3rd release. It's got the incredible Change in the Weather, Edison's Medicine, Don't De-Rock Me, Don't De-Rock Me, another great song. Call It What You Want, so catchy. The incredibly moody anthemic song and emotion. Time, Freedom Slaves, Freedom Slaves, Freedom Slaves. Great stuff. Had Enough, What You Give. I mean, just can't stop, talk about it. I mean, this could rank higher. My top 3 are so good that I changed this order so many times, and if you ask me again in a couple days, I could probably change it again. So, yeah. Great production on here. Steve Thompson, Michael Barbiero. All right, here, this is, of course, the classic album. Well, classic lineup, I should say. Jeff Keith, Tommy Schiach, Frank Hannon on guitars, Brian Wheat, Troy Luccketta. Fantastic classic Tesla album. If you're not familiar with Tesla, just go right now and go get their first 3 albums. That's probably my best recommendation for you. Mechanical Resonance from 1986 comes in today anyway at number 2. This is their debut album. Fantastic. Again, Steve Thompson, Michael Barbiero at the production helm. This is the same lineup that I just mentioned. Jeff, Frank, Tommy, Brian, and Troy. Classic songs on here as well. Easy Come, Easy Go. Okay, Modern Day Cowboy, which is the hit from this album that kind of got people noticing who this band was. Coming At You Alive, great song. Getting Better, so catchy. Too Late for Love, heavy. Rock Me to the Top, Changes. What a great song Changes is. Great, haunting, moody, classic. Love Me, Cover Queen. Just great hard rock and metal, but bluesy hard rock and metal. It's not a hair band. That's these guys were just playing kind of like old school type stuff in the 80s. And again, this kind of bluesy, gritty, hard rock and metal just kind of, predated, Badlands by a couple of years. Although Badlands a little bit different, obviously. But these guys were like a breath of fresh air, for me anyway, in the 80s. Little Susie. Geez, Can't forget Little Susie. Can't forget Little Susie, also a great song. And then, of course, I'm going to go today. My number one is going to be The Great Radio Controversy from 1989, their second album, or their sophomore album. Also produced by Thompson and Barbiero. This has, perhaps one of my favorite Tesla songs of all time, Hang Tough. Great song. It's got Heaven's Trail, No Way Out. There's no way out, no way out on this living hell. Great stuff. Be a Man, Lazy Days, Crazy Nights, Lady Luck, Yesterday's Gone, Making Magic, The Way It Is. That's the way it is. And these guys had such memorable, alluring harmonies, just vocal harmonies, just great. It's got the incredible love song on here, right? Everybody loves love song. Flight to Nowhere, Paradise, Party's Over. Just top to bottom, just absolutely fantastic, fantastic, fantastic music. Sounds to me like the dogs are getting a treat, right? You can hear that's the excitement that's brewing in the background. So let's recap my list, shall we? So coming in at number one, we got The Great Radio Controversy. Coming in at number two, Mechanical Resonance. Number three, Psychotic Supper. Number four, Simplicity. Number five, Bust a Nut. Number six, Forevermore. Number seven, Into the Now. And number eight, Shock, being the latest one. So a great band. Like one of my, when I look back on kind of like the bands that debuted in the 80s and the early 90s from the hard rock and metal scene, that was a time where you had all the thrash bands coming out, right? So you had, Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer and Anthrax and Overkill, so on and so forth. You had the kind of more of the, what they tend to call, the commercial hard rock bands, the hair bands, whatever. So you had, Motley Crue and Poison and Cinderella, Faster Pussycat, so on and so forth, and Winger, and then you had Dokken, and you had the legacy bands, who were still pumping out music. You had, Deep Purple and Whitesnake and so on and so forth. But then you had a band like Tesla, who kind of didn't really fit neatly into any of those areas, but kind of did their own thing. This kind of just like real kind of vintage sounding, but modern, bluesy, heavy rock, hard rock, metal, little bits of both. And they could come up with cool pop harmonies from time to time. They did the rootsier stuff. I mean, just a really, really great band that when it comes down to it, they just wrote great songs. They were great players. And their albums are just like so enjoyable and just packed with so many fantastic songs. So there you have Tesla. Ranking the studio albums. Feel free to rank them as you like them in the comments section below. And make sure you visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're on YouTube all the damn time. So we'll see you guys probably tomorrow with some new programming. So check you out then. Got a lot of stuff coming on Monday, so you don't want to miss any of it, right? So have a good weekend. See you soon. Bye-bye.